welcome back to another YouTube video here today. Today we are going over this new cache build, and this is Burn the World Cache. I found a cool class mod that I thought was quite interesting, and I just wanted to make a build around it. It is the Gambler. This has 5 in Red Moon Rising. Windfall is active. Cache deals bonus fire damage with his guns and action skills. And then this also has 2 and Can't Stop Winning. So Cash gains a critical chance with guns and action skill. Whenever Cash critically hits an enemy with guns or action skill, he gains a chance to enter Windfall. And this has damage reduction, 23% damage dealt, and 35% gun damage. This would actually be better rolled if it had some skill damage on it, because we're using Vigorish and the Wild. So this would be better with skill damage, but it does not have skill damage, but it is still very good. And then we're using the mini triple bypass. So we have amp 3 times. This is what you're going to want. This is just really, really nice. You have 3 pops of this thing. Very good rep kit. And then we're using the Hemdahl for mobbing. This is just to get us through the takedown a bit faster. You can spam the dice to get your ordnance back very, very fast. But then we're also using other guns for mobbing that work really well. And then we're using the free charge order enhancement. This one has gun critical and assault rifle critical. It says free charger when firing order from maximum charge. Gun order light parts at 30% chance to make next shot charge, and ammo cost 0. Sometimes this actually screws you and you'll get stuck at a lower ammo count. So sometimes you'll have to reload. I recommend honestly just looking one for a power shot, because this effect is nice at certain points. Then it can work against you, but it is a nice effect though. Power shot gives you a 30% more damage when firing from maximum charge, and this one has gun critical damage and assault rifle critical damage. Triple amp watts for dinner for lots of extra damage, which is really nice. And then we're using active fire, so you get 10% more weapon damage and 20% more charge rate. Firing charge within 0.5 seconds, reaching full charge increases damage dealt by 100%. And then we're using 2 Deadeyes, so you get more gun accuracy and more gun critical damage. This would actually be better to switch this one off the Skillcraft and probably like high caliber for you to get more skill damage. And then for the skill tree, we're using 1 in fast hands, 3 in insurance, so you get shield capacity, recharge rate. And then we're using 1 in alchemy, so you get more elemental effect chance. And then we're using go for broke, so you get more additional fortune stacks when you gain a fortune stack. 2 in sounds of rain, so you have more critical chance with your guns and action skills. 5 in trick takers, so you get more elemental damage up to 35%. And then we're using 1 in latent scratch. Whenever Cash attempts into windfall, he fails to gain a stack of fortune. And then we put 1 in double teens. So Cash gains an additional augment slot. 1 in high roller. Cash gains increased gun damage. The more action skill cooldown he has, the greater the bonus, which is really good. Then we have 5 in Vigorish. Whenever Cash deals damage with his action skill, his guns deal bonus elemental damage of that type. The more fortune stacks Cash has, the greater the bonus. So this is just a very strong skill. And then we're using 3 in Dealer's Buff, so we can spam our action skill back really easily. So we can just spam our dice very easy. Really nice. And then we're using 5 in Charm Bracelet, so you get 15% more skill damage and 20% more skill damage per bone totem you throw. And then we're using 5 in Red Moon Rising, so you get 30% of damage dealt while Windfall is active with your guns of fire damage, which is really nice. 1 in double teens, so Cash gets an additional augment slot. 3 in Bone Mill Ticket, so you get more action skill rotation on kill from your totems, so that means you get more totem stacks, which is really good. And then we're using 1 in Luckless, so you have an extra chance to jinx enemies, so you get more damage. And then we're using Accursed Bones, so you have another chance to jinx enemies. Whenever action skill damages an enemy, they become jinxed, and they also take more damage. And then we're using 5 in Turn of Fate. So while Windfall is active, Cash gains lifesteal. If his health's full, he gains Overshield instead. And then we're using 1 in Can't Stop Winning. Cash gains a critical hit chance with guns and action skill. Whenever Cash critically hits an enemy with guns or action skill, he gains a chance to Windfall. And then we're using 1 high stakes, so we can get down to the wilds. And then we're using 3 in Fortune Favor. You get more gun damage and skill damage. The more overshield you have, the greater the bonus, which is really good here because we're using Vigorish. And then we're using the wilds, and the wild is while Windfall is active, cash deal, and his companions deal random bonus elemental damage. So basically, what this setup was, a while Windfall is active, so now we have Windfall, which we get fire on our hot slugger there. We got fire on the hot slugger, and we ground slam. And as you can see, we get random elemental damages on our ground slam there, and apparently we got 2 ground breakers too. Because that was 1.1 million and then it was 2.1 million. But as you can see, we got bonus random elemental damages off of our groundbreaker, and we got what, corrosive here, and then this one got corrosive too, I think. Shock. I mean, it's pretty very strong. So a very strong skill. It just ends up being pretty crazy. And then for these specializations, we are using the best defense. You get damage dealt when shields are full. And then we're using tripwire. You get reduced ordnance cooldown whenever action skill is activated. And then we're using riddle you this. You get 1% more gun damage per stack, which is really good. And then we're using groundbreaker. So when you're shooting an enemy, the stored damage can be turned into melee damage. So basically, the more damage you store with this, or like you shoot this a bunch, and you hit them with the groundbreaker. As you can see, we stored. Oh, I don't see the groundbreaker. How did I not hit him? Unless that was a really weak groundbreaker. That might have been his bad groundbreaker, but we usually use like a stronger hitting gun though for it though. There, we hit that. And then come in and hit the groundbreaker. And there we hit for 46 million. And then we got what? 9.1 million corrosive and 6.2 million shock, which is really strong. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.